have you with us in our first final pitch competition, the Kittrell pitch competition. This has been a hard work and a work in progress for many of us. I'd like to thank Jerry Stubblefield and Miguel Cortez for their work in organizing this. They've done a fantastic job both in the organization of the event, but a lot of it in the organization of getting people ready for the event. The grand prize tonight is $10,000. So this is y'all got to take this seriously down here, okay? So, Mark, you want to pitch? So this is a really big deal for us here at Lipscomb, is to be able to have this award to help encourage entrepreneurship, and we are thankful to have 8 contestants tonight. They came through either our November preliminary round or our preliminary round earlier this week to get us ready for tonight. So we do appreciate it. Entrepreneurship is across the campus at Lipscomb. You'll see undergraduate and graduate students, you'll see business students, and those from other majors as well that are pitching tonight. So we are thrilled to have that level of participation. All in all, we've had, through our preliminary rounds, a little over 20 different companies or different participants in our pitch competition. So I'm glad I'm just glad to have you, and I look forward to hearing these pitches. This will actually be the first time that I've heard the final round pitches as well. So I'm going to be keeping score. No, I'm not. So at this time, I'd like to ask Rob Touchstone, who is the Director of Missional Entrepreneurship at Lipscomb, to come and just say a blessing over this gathering tonight. Missional Entrepreneurship is a new initiative that we have, one of the few in the country that's looking at the intersection of entrepreneurship and careers and faith. And I think Rob is the ideal person to help do that after a career both in ministry and a career in launching the well. And there are 2 stores now and the growth plans that he has there. So Rob, would you come pray a prayer of blessing, and I'll introduce a couple of other folks.
Thank you, Joe. Yeah, I want to welcome everybody tonight, our students, our judges, and our guests. I'd love to pray over us, and let's do that together. God, we thank you so much for the gift of business. We thank you for the ways that you use business for good in this world. Thank you for the ways that you are here tonight, and we pray that your Spirit would be present with our students that are pitching tonight. We pray that your Spirit would be present with our judges, and we thank you for this opportunity to participate in community together tonight. So God, we pray in all that we do tonight that you would be glorified, and that our students will have a wonderful experience, that this will be a learning opportunity. And God, we pray for the one that is chosen to win, and we pray for your hand to be upon that as well. But God, we know tonight that we come away from this experience all better because of it, and we thank you that we might participate as spectators, as students, and as guests. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Rob. We are able to do this competition because of the generosity of Marty Kittrell. We happen to have Marty in the audience today, and I'd like for him to take just a couple of moments to come up and to tell us why he decided to do this. As Marty's coming up, I'm going to preface this for just a moment. I know a lot of people, but I don't know anybody that is more generous than Marty Kittrell. Nor do I know anybody that puts that generosity towards students any better than Marty does as well. You put a student in front of Marty, and I don't know what he might do. He loves students. He loves what we do at Lipscomb, and has funded this competition for this year plus 4 more years after this. And it's not just the prize money, it's also support for the infrastructure that goes on to do this as well. So Marty is just a great benefactor, not only to the entrepreneurship program, but also to the College of Business and to the university. And so Marty, thank you. I just want to thank you, and we'd like to hear a little bit from you as well. So thank you very much.
Let's give Joe and Jerry and Miguel and the whole team a hand for putting this together. Some of you heard this in November. I 1941 graduate of Lipscomb, went into two-year school. In 1941, he graduated, immediately went into the Navy, and then spent the next 30 months in the Pacific Ocean. During that 30 months in the Pacific, all he thought about was coming home and starting business, which is what he did. And in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, he was an entrepreneur, had a couple of different businesses, and instilled in me a love for business. So that's one of the reasons I'm here tonight. Now, I'm a graduate from Lipscomb as well, 1977, went into accounting, and then moved from accounting into corporate finance, and spent a lot of years with a lot of different companies doing a lot of different things. Great career, had a chance to retire a few years ago, which I did. I'm more involved with Lipscomb now. It's been a lot of fun. And as Joe mentioned, the thing I really enjoy is the interaction with the students. I tend to be heavily involved with the College of Business in a couple of different ways. It's a lot of fun for me. I've tried to make that a two-way street, and it's just been a lot of fun. So appreciate the opportunity to be supportive and helpful. Really thank you, Joe, and the whole team for what you've done with the program. And the competition tonight, it's going to be trite for me to get up here and say there are no losers tonight. There will be somebody who walks away with some money, but there are no losers. Showing an interest in business, whether you're a business graduate or whether you're in some other field, but have this burning desire to start a business or run a business is just cool. And I have a lot of respect for anybody who's willing to do that. So good luck tonight. Make the best of your opportunity when you get up here. Impress the judges, slip them a $50 bill. I'm sorry, y'all teach ethics here.
We do the end.
I forgot about
to
the
sell out for $50.
Yeah, I forgot about the ethics thing. No, I didn't forget about the ethics thing. Anyway, good luck tonight.
Thank you, Marty. Tonight, we have 3 judges, and they have all generously agreed to participate and to lend their expertise. Andy Bunton is a senior vice president of Pathway Lending here in town, one of the few lenders to early stage startup businesses in Nashville. More importantly, as importantly, I guess, she's the president of Pathway's Women's Business Center, which is an initiative they've had to promote, they've just recently opened to promote entrepreneurship within women. When I saw that 5 of our 8 finalists were going to be women, I said we have to have Amy come and be one of the judges tonight. That, by the way, that ratio is pretty unusual in entrepreneurship programs. Our second judge is Justin Crossland. Justin is a principal with Crossland Associates and has been a long-time Crossland Associates, most folks in Nashville know as an accounting firm. He's been a long-time technology entrepreneur, not only in accounting, but in several other industries, and I think brings a lot of experience in evaluating ideas. And at the end, we have Mark Cleveland. The easiest way to introduce Mark is as a serial entrepreneur, and that's not like the cereal you eat. That's like an entrepreneur that does it over and over and over again in industries from socks to drones and a lot of places in between. Mark was selected as the Entrepreneur of the Year in the Nashville community this past year, and we're glad to have him with us as well. So thank you all very much. We appreciate it. And I think it's time to get started. Natalie Gilbert, I believe, is first.
Welcome. I want to start right now with Natalie's Office Spa. This is my business. This is something that I've thought about for a very long time. Basically, when I was 14 years old, I was working in Hawaii, and someone told me, said, okay, well, what do you want to do with your life? And I said, well, I really want to help people. My mother raised 3 kids on her own, and basically she'd come home and she'd say, can you take off my shoes? And I'd say, yeah, of course. And and I rub her feet a little bit. It really made her feel good at the end of the day. And basically, that's when I decided I wanted to become a massage therapist, but it's more than that. It's when I decided I really wanted to start my own business. I figured the best way I could help people is to widen the span of my reach instead of like being a missionary. I would love to do missions, but I love business and entrepreneurship way too much. And so basically, with Natalie's Office Spa, I decided I wanted to help companies incorporate massage therapy into their benefits packages. So basically, with Natalie's Office Spa, a company is going to transform this mindset of we have to come to work, we're stressed out, maybe on Mondays, really slow, and we want people to be productive. So working on companies, one thing is, how can I take myself out of it even though it's Natalie's Office Spa? When you come to work and you are every day putting in those hours and you just want to go home, you think, okay, well, what makes this worth it? Is the pay really high, or do I just love what I do? And I think that's something that resonates with employees. Another thing is when they come in, are they going to think, oh, thank you, Natalie, for your services? Yes, but really they're going to thank the boss. They're going to say, thank you for really appreciating us and investing in your employees. Now we're going to do better at our jobs. So that's what a typical massage room would look like. That's something I could transform for each company. So this is our business overview. Basically, like I just described, don't want to spend too much time on that, but it's an incentive for these companies so that they don't have high turnover rates. You get the best top-notch people in your company. They're going to be looking for a lot of different things you're going to want with those benefits. So besides this guy's hairstyle, let's just take a look at his posture. Okay, he's hunched over at his desk. He's sitting there, his shoulders are rolled forward, which the pectoral muscles, those muscles, those get tight. Pretty much you get backache, you get neck ache. Recently, I found there was someone in our Bible department, and she told me her husband was getting muscle spasms. And at their age, thought maybe it was something with the heart. Turns out he went into the hospital and he said, okay, what is this going on? I'm in excruciating pain. And they said, it's actually your spine. Like, do you work at a computer? He said, actually, I've been reading a long time on an iPad. And with technology, it's really important that we adapt and we make sure that we're taking care of ourselves while we're taking care of our customers and our employees as well. So these are the options for Natalie's Office Spa. As I've been going to meet with companies, I want to customize each package to each company and what they're looking for their employees. So basically, the first option, I have a chiropractic office who's willing to allow me a space, and he's actually also referring me patients or his clients. So that's an automatic income from his business. But then as well, I can say, okay, companies can send their employees to Natalie's Office Spa on their own time, but the employees are paying for these services. And then the other option is that they can say, no, we don't want to take them away from work, and we know that they're pretty busy. So basically, they can come just to work on a normal day, have scheduling online, and then me and a couple therapists would come in and basically perform our sessions, and then you can do chair massage, really looking at whatever the company needs and if they have space or if they don't. So our financial analysis, so basically what it costs, from the time I've become a massage therapist, which is the last couple years, sorry if it's a little bit hard to see, but on here basically it's saying the main expenses are obviously rent, our supplies, and our salary. And with massage therapists, the biggest turn down to why you don't get quality massages is because they're overworked and underpaid. And so that's something where if the employees, just like my employees, will be, the employees that are working for a company, the same way that I want that CEO or whoever to take care of their employees, I want to be that person. That's why I wanted to be my own boss, because I want to take care of employees, and I really value those relationships. So basically, I'm going to make sure that my employees are compensated at a reasonable rate, and they're also going to get better tips, because obviously if you're going in for a massage and your boss is paying for it, then you're not going to worry about, oh, I have to spend extra when I get in the massage. And then, so basically this is an average price. So this is all pretty much an example, because I want to do value-based pricing so that with those companies, they're going to see in comparison with their turnover rates. And like I said, at $62.50 a massage, that's that's incredibly cheap. Pretty much right now, I worked at the Omni for a little while, I worked in Beverly Hills, and massages are over 100 an hour, but since we're doing it for the company, we're obviously recognizing that discount, and I also want to offer benefits for my employees as well. So pretty much as this works out, I'd be profiting $66,000 a year, and that's pretty good, but we're also looking at scaling with other cities, and I have connections in Los Angeles, and I'm working on new opportunities. So basically, with your investment. And the reason this is so important is because in a generation where people are just focusing on go, 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 and I was working in Hong Kong this summer and I realized it's even more over there, the intense situations of coming in at 5 a.m. and maybe leaving at 6, some days 7, and so those workloads are incredibly difficult, and I wanted to say, okay, how can you get the most out of your employee without working them to death? So basically it's saying they're going to be more productive because they're actually taking care of themselves. And the company is actually taking care of them, so they're going to feel appreciated, they're going to enjoy what they do, and they're going to really want to work harder and really take care of those customers. And they're going to see that company and say, oh, well, that's one of the 100 best companies to work for, so we're going to support that company as well. And really improve the quality of life. I think it's very important to remember what matters, and for most people, the first thing they think, like, maybe their family or the things that they don't want to sacrifice, that why they're going to leave their job. With me personally, as an entrepreneur who is young and who has struggled definitely through my journey, I've seen people change jobs left and right. And for a traditional person, companies don't like that. The turnover rate is too high, and unless you're an entrepreneur, like Mark here, where you're able to, take on a whole new startup, which is not outside of what I want to do, because with a for-profit business, later on I can move forward and open, social enterprise and things that I also enjoy doing. But I didn't want to start with that because I actually believe that massage therapy really benefits people, and that in itself is a ministry, and it's something that is valuable. So what would I do with $10,000? Really, it's not about the $10,000. To me, it's about the people. So that money is specifically toward looking at new hires, looking into opportunities with the companies as far as like what I can do with that rent space. But if it's too big, if we're getting into too many calls and too many appointments, I really want to look at a little bit bigger space than I currently have. So that's just one thing I'm researching right now as far as the real estate goes. And really, it's bringing the community together, and I basically want to start this business. Well, I am starting this business, and I just want your guys' support, because I think that it's valuable to really get people involved to what you're doing, and the more you can get them involved, then the more it's going to profit, but not just for profit, that it's for actually helping people in need. And I don't want to see any more people that are like that guy, or more like the person who is close to me, who is just going to the hospital and put on medication. And sometimes medication I think is great, but sometimes people get addicted to it because it's their only source of pain relief. And I really want to change that. I really want to start something that is moving for people, that they recognize the value of themselves and the value of their company. So if you guys could join me, that would be wonderful. And if you guys have any questions, please let me know. So most companies I've actually spoken with, HCA, I've talked to the CEO of Aegis, and different places. Actually, the last pitch, when we got $1,000, I went and I said, okay, I want to offer free massage, and I went to these companies, they said, oh, well, we would actually benefit from this, what we're willing to pay you. I just don't want it to be so single. I want it to be a membership. I want to see businesses coming together for the good. Not everyone can be Google and retain those clients, and no one ever wants to leave. But if we can get more companies on board, they're saying, oh, well, this company is doing it. Of course, this is a good thing. And their employees, if they're seeing the benefits from it, I think it'll speak for itself. Does that answer your question? Good. Most therapists, their rate isn't as good because they can't afford to have a good rate for the company because they're depending on their overhead or their inability to reach everyone.
So is your primary target large companies?
No, so I average 40, but honestly, it really depends on the company. So I just spoke with a company recently, and they're like, oh, we have 100 employees. Also, was talking to someone who's on the board for the Refuge Center, which is really close to my heart, because seeing people who are caretakers, taking care of them, there may be 5 full-time employees. But I said, okay, well, if you want, I can come out for free. And they're getting a lot of feedback back that they're experiencing, being overworked and that just completely burnout. And they love what they're doing, but they really can't take care of themselves within that time. And so they said, okay, we'll bring you in and we'll go ahead and try this out. And they're getting surveys back from them. So.
Natalie, do you have a process where you're capturing market feedback? You've suggested feedback from this person, that person.
Yes.
Are you systemizing that so that you get a market feedback mechanism so you can turn some of this into more of an obvious fact-based comment?
Yes. Sorry I didn't have a slide for it up. Just actually quite didn't have that ready because I was adding and met with someone this morning, actually. But yes, I have at least 4 companies who are willing, who are considering it, and I'm really trying to work out, as far as feedback, it is a client by client with companies as far as what they need. So with that feedback, I'm keeping that for a specific company. And then I'm also reaching out to just other companies who recommend me. So that might be another factor later on.
The second question I had was, I didn't really understand your calculations in terms of cost of goods sold.
Okay.
So help me understand if you've got a 60-50 revenue,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to pay people well, but
Yes.
what is your basis for calculating cost of goods sold?
So basically, so $62.50 that's the price, and that's $2,500 a month for that company. But these are average prices. Like I said, this is an example of 40 employees, so that's why it comes out to $62.50. But I will work with companies depending on the value of what they need as far as like that turnover rate and everything. So basically, with that, the employees I want to pay $20 an hour. That's what I based it as. And then, so as a massage therapist, you can make $15, $20, $50 in tips, but if you're only getting paid $10 an hour when a standard massage therapist makes $1 an hour on their own, but that's going private clients and things like that. And then with the costs, I already have my tables. Basically, I have most of my assets, and then it'd just be with the rent, and then supplies, which actually these lotions my mother made. But I really want to support, like Thistle Farms is one of someone who really inspired me, and I would like to tie that in, see how I can network with the community, and then it'll be more of an incentive for the companies to actually really get the best out of it. So basically, with my model, I basically want to start with, if the companies want to do business, sorry, taking that in this question. If the companies want to do business with me, I'm focusing on something where, I'm sorry, I'm completely losing my blanking. When companies want to do business with me, I really want to focus back to their employees. So I will be taking in the cash, but I'm sorry, I'm really ruining your question. Sorry. It's a package, yeah. So it's part of a membership. I've pitched before. I've actually pitched many times, and it used to be a spa and a lounge, something where they could have a place to go. The company could have massage rooms, meeting spaces, as well as like a bar or a cafe or something. But that, I really wanted to focus on massage therapy. So it would be a monthly package. It'd already be worked out with employees, with the employer, so the employee wouldn't have to worry about that. So basically, yes, it would already be set up. And I don't want to, I know last pitch someone said, you know, are you banking on the fact that their employees aren't going to take these services? And I'm not, because I really think that they will take advantage of them and that they're going to tell people about it. So they're going to say, hey, maybe we should suggest this to other companies with our friends and things like that. Thank you for your time. Sorry.
Hi, everyone. My name is Brittany Small.
And I'm Jael Teme. And we're here today to talk about OutLoud Group, which is an online support group. But first, I want to start with a story. It's a little bit personal. When I was 2 years old, I was on vacation with my family. And we rented a house very close to the ocean. And so I was almost 2 years old, so I was like this big. And I was still learning how to walk. And so one day, we were in the kitchen, and I grabbed the oven handle for support. Well, on top of the oven, there was a pot with boiling water. And when I grabbed the oven handle, the oven and the pot with boiling water fell on me. Turns out the oven was loosely attached. And that left a significant scar on my arm. And now I'm going to do something I have never done before, and is that I'm going to show my scar. So, growing up, I thought I had something to hide, that I couldn't show this to anyone. I didn't want to show it because I thought I wasn't enough. And I didn't want to tell my friends about it because what were they going to think about me? So, this experience marked me for life. It's been 23 years since this happened, and I'm still shaking a little bit when I'm telling you this story. So you can see that I'm still struggling with this. I've had a hard time throughout my life because since I was hiding it, it was just internal. No one knew about it. Some people here in this room know me and had no idea about this. So it was all in my head, but I was ashamed of it. And researcher Brené Brown says that shame is the fear of disconnection. And that's what I was afraid of. I was afraid of not connecting with people. I was afraid that if people knew about this, then they wouldn't like me for who I really was. So what I decided to do is wear long sleeves everywhere and hide it. And that works very well during winter, but during summer, during the really hot days, that's kind of complicated. And I remember during very hot days how I would turn into a different person. I would just not want to go outdoors. I would stay in my room, not want to talk to anyone. I was very close to depression. So one day I was in my room, not too long ago, and I was writing in my journal, and I remember writing, I'm not worthy. I don't love myself, and many other things. So that night in my room, I decided I needed counseling. I needed help. I had to do something to change my situation and to stop the lies I was telling myself. So I did. I got counseling. And what I learned in counseling is that there is power in telling your story out loud. After a few months of counseling and a lot of sessions, I was not ashamed of it anymore. And that's why I can stand here today and show it to you all. Because even though I'm still struggling with it, it's part of me. And I remember a few months after I had started with my counseling sessions, how I went back to my journal and I decided to write again. And I wrote, I still have a long way to go. I'm still insecure about my scar and many other things. But I know I'm worthy. I know I'm enough. And the truth is, being vulnerable is not fun. Being here telling you guys this story is not an easy thing to do, and it's not something I enjoy doing. But I know that every time I share my story, I'm one step closer from stop measuring my self-worth based on this scar. OutLoud group is a place for people to share their stories and get the help they need.
Stories like Jael's is why we wanted to create OutLoud group in the first place. And if we can look at some statistics for a second, 62 million Americans experience a mental health disorder each year. That's 1 in 4 adults. 800,000 people die by suicide every year across the globe. 7 Americans die by suicide by hour. 35 million people worldwide are affected by depression. And lastly, in 2012, 60% of adults did not receive mental health treatment. That's why OutLoud group is so necessary. People need a space to address the issues that are preventing them going to sleep at night before they become a mental illness. Every day, we are bombarded with information about people committing suicide or hurting others atrociously, and this all began as a mental disorder. We can help these people. We can stop these problems. Our mission is to help people connect with others while simultaneously addressing the issues that have been preventing them from living their lives wholeheartedly. OutLoud group is an online support group for those who do not desire to leave their house or they simply want to remain anonymous while sharing their stories with others.
So this is how it works. Someone can be in their computer and can do a Google search and find OutLoud group. And they can also be referred by someone else, like a counselor. Once they go to the website, they're going to find a forum with people sharing their stories. This is free of charge. But there's going to be a counselor moderating the conversations. The person can keep looking at the website, and they're going to see a sign that says, join a group. Below that sign, they're going to read, whatever you're going through, chances are someone else is going through something similar. Find your group. So they can decide to go to one of the groups. And the way it works is they pay one time $180 for one group, and what that encompasses is 6 weeks of counseling sessions with a counselor and a group of people. Then they can continue after the 6 weeks, and they can have one-on-one sessions with the counselors for a price of $35. Now, if the person can't afford to pay for these sessions, they can apply for the sliding scale scholarship. So those are the prices, $180 for the group sessions and one-on-one for the $35 for the one-on-one session. So the group sessions are going to be in a webinar format. So what that means is that they're going to go to their computer and they can choose to show their webcam, to show their identities, or remain anonymous. Now, the counselor is going to know who the users are. That's for safety reasons. So how it works is that through the process, which lasts 6 weeks, the group sessions are based in the webinar format, like I just mentioned, and they're going to meet once a week, and it's a set time. So for example, on Thursday at 6 p.m., the group on anxiety is going to meet, and so they're going to have a meeting with their counselor. And like I said before also, they can choose if they want to remain anonymous or if they want to share their identity, which I think is very valuable because some people want to talk to others, want to share their stories, but at the same time, they also don't want to show who they are.
OutLoud Group offers a unique opportunity because no other website in existence offers this sort of support while creating community. So essentially how we would have this work is users would have access to our complimentary web forum, where they can go and talk with licensed counselors alongside other individuals who are experiencing similar issues. Once they have browsed our website, they can go on and join different groups such as depression, self-worth, eating disorders, just 3 examples based off what they're going through. Excuse me. Many people as possible. That's why our prices are competitive with the market, yes, but they're also designed to be affordable to the widest variety of personnel possible. In terms of our target market, we are appealing to internet users 18 and up. Prior to accessing our services, you have to sign a legal agreement that proves you are 18 and up, and also you are legally responsible for how you conduct yourself on the website. Our competitive advantage, we will have access to licensed counselors, lower fees, and a private community. Relate that to other websites who have between $45 and $240 sessions, and is almost no monitoring whatsoever. Regardless of what you're going through, OutLoud Group is designed to provide you with a safe yet private community to grow, and heal?
This generation is looking to connect, but we have never learned how to do that. That's why we're providing the medium for people to experience community while at the same time receiving counseling. As we like to say, OutLoud Group is a bridge between where you are and where you want to be. And today we want to invite you to join us in helping people make that transition. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is this system based on an established forum technology, and have you identified that, and are you already operating?
We are not. We have a template, and the idea is to do it online because we want to reach more people that way. And so we would start as a forum, and then you would go to a group that would be as a webinar. But I don't know if I'm answering your question. So when they go to the website, they will see the forum.
That's fine. I was curious about how far along you are in terms of experimenting with this process. Do you have some licensed counselors who are already behind your vision?
No, and that's part of what we want to use the money for recruiting, because we think that we need to have the right counselors for this project because they have to have a heart for the mission, and we don't want to have high turnover, so we really need to emphasize on the recruiting side to start with the project.
Have you figured out how many clients it's going to take for you to break even?
That's a very good question.
Good question. So essentially our finances right now, what we're doing is in order to break even, factoring in the $10,000 or no?
Factor it in.
Factor it in, okay. If we factor in the $10,000 and we do it per year, we're charging
The short answer is no. We have not yet, but we believe that since we're doing this online, there are costs. For example, we're not going to have to pay for a building because we're going to start off as a small company, and so we're trying to have our own computers. The counselors have their own computers, work from home, and reduce costs based on that. That's why we want to keep it low with that low price.
Is this a 24/7 kind of, are you going to have counselors? 24
Well,
hours?
initially it won't, but that's the goal.
Yes.
Because we, with the forum, there are going to be counselors moderating each comment. Because what we found online right now is people joining groups, so-called online support groups, but the problem is that there is no one moderating the conversation. So
Right.
if I'm dealing with depression, I'm talking to Brittany, who's also dealing with depression, and we're just talking about how sad we are. We're not
Right.
talking, we don't have any sort of help to go out of that. So initially we're going to have to approve each comment, and of course it's going to take a while to get to the 24/7 point,
But we want to.
but we want to get
Yeah.
there.
So are you just going to schedule those meetings
Yeah.
and times and when people can talk to each other?
No, people can comment at any time, but then there's going to be a specific time where the counselor is going to be there to approve the comment. So they're not going to see it online until the counselor approves the comment.
This is killing me because I just want a mentor.
One last question. How are you going to market to, if, internet's, you put it out there and all of a sudden they bombarded.
Right.
How are you going to market to just the right group so that you control the growth that you're seeing?
Part of the $10,000, we want to use it for marketing because we believe that that's the most important part of our job right now to start with the project. And since it is online, we have a lot of resources like Google Analytics and Google Ads and stuff that we can do. And we're going to start with that. So.
What was your educational background here at Lipscomb? Give us,
You can start?
Do you want our undergraduate?
well,
Or-
whatever who are you from that sort of credentials perspective?
Okay, so I studied journalism and new media as an undergrad, and now I'm doing a master's in management. But I'm also working in recruiting, so that's why I mentioned that it's really important for us to have the right counselors, and we're going to do a very good background check and find the right people So that's my background.
My undergraduate is in international relations and nuclear proliferation, and I'm getting my master's in management alongside Jael, and I also work in recruiting, so I know how important it is to start from the ground up and essentially start slow, but you want to make sure if your foundation's not strong, you can't build up at all. So recruiting is going to be the most important part alongside marketing.
Do you think it's reasonable to have a program where you have people in need who are posting and commenting, but their comments can't be shared without some supervision process? That seems kind of counterintuitive to what's happening on the web today.
That's a very good point. But that's also our strength, basically, because we don't want people just posting things, because we want these people to receive help, not to basically just go down together.
Right.
So,
And it's also, we want to, if people feel that their stories can just be shared with anyone, they won't post in the first place. We want this to be an intimate and a private atmosphere. So again, it could be seen as a weakness, absolutely, but can also be seen as a strength, and we're going to take it forward as a strength and really work on that.
and I think people in the end are going to appreciate that they're being taken care of and not just receiving any comment. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, my name is Michael Drake, and I'm the founder of writeHEIGHT. You've heard this phrase mentioned in the media many times. Sitting is killing us, and for a good reason. There are a whole bunch of problems associated for sitting and being sedentary for a long period of time. A recent study by the BBC found that we were being sedentary for 19 hours of the day, 12 of those being sitting. And let's take a look at one of these, heart disease. The primary cause of heart disease is glucose in the bloodstream, or prolonged levels of glucose in the bloodstream. And this is due to the fact of inactivity. So the key to being healthy is being more active. Same with diabetes. With diabetes, it's because your liver isn't active, so your body isn't producing the hormone insulin. So there's a solution. So this is what I came up with. It's amazing how it works on Monday and not on Wednesdays. Let me fix this. I'll be back. Do you mind hitting escape? Excuse me. So this is what's currently available on the market. As you can tell, a lot of it is modern. And to me, it looks terrible. It's made out of plastic, and it's using these cantilevered spans. So you lose the rigidity of a four-post system. So did people want a traditional desk? That's what I went out to go find. So I surveyed a number of people, and this was the results. The majority of people wanted a traditional design, and that's why I chose to depart from the ultra-modern design that currently exists. So when I showed this to people, these were two of my favorite responses. The reason it doesn't exist is because it hasn't been designed yet. And if it became available, we would definitely show it. So this is a traditional desk, but we're solving some very contemporary problems. It's made out of wood and steel. Wood is fantastic. It is sustainable, and it captures carbon. Plus, steel is very long-lasting. And although the hydraulics are tested for 10,000 cycles and should last a very long time, when it does eventually need to be replaced, it's highly recyclable. So who am I targeting with this? I'm targeting the C-level executive. And the reason why I'm targeting the C-level executive is because I can recognize who they are in the market. Also, they take pride in the companies that they've built and like to surround themselves with great things and great people. Also, their offices tend to feature more traditional design, and they're able to afford traditional furniture in both their homes and their offices. So how do I reach them? CEOs typically go out to interior designers when they go to design their homes or their offices. But how do you reach the interior designers in furniture stores? Well, one option is through trade shows. There's one for ergonomics in June in Chicago, which I'd be very interested in going to at some point. It may not be this year, but certainly next year. A great opportunity. Also, writeHEIGHT.com is up and running. It's rough right now, but it's up. Plus, writeHEIGHT on YouTube. Through smart marketing, if you search sit, stand, desk on YouTube, I come up on the first page. You're able to watch the video there. Also, social media and press release. A lot of CEOs, or at least the CEOs that I've talked to, tend to get a lot of their news through the paper still. So being able to get a press release puts it in front of them. Also, the way I've been able to get into the stores has been through cold calls. I've found just making a cold call and getting a response usually gets you into the door. So let's go behind the curtain. The suggested retail price for this desk is $6,000, wholesale $4,000, and the cost to produce is $2,500. That gives me a 38% gross margin. The way we determined the suggested retail price was going to Sprints and giving them a wholesale price and then suggesting what would you market or what would you sell it for. And they suggested the retail industry for standard is a 40% markup on furniture. So this is what the financials look like to begin with. I'm assuming it takes 6 to 8 weeks to produce the desk. So that means I don't collect revenue until month 3. That's why you see August go up. And I don't break even until October. That's a sale of 2 desks. My break even is 2 desks. You can see the line up there that kind of jags across. That's because I'm assuming 3 desks. But one of the desks has an option. And the options are very easy to add. They don't cost a whole lot more to add to the desk, but they add quite a lot of value. In this case, it adds $500 of value. And one of those, or a few of the options could be, imagine walking up to this desk and having it recognize your phone through Bluetooth and have it rise to your preset height. Or imagine being able to put your phone or your computer on top of the desk and have it begin charging itself without the need of plugging in wires. This is all possible using current technologies. So what does the income statement look like? Well, you can see at the very end of year 1, that if everything were to go to plan, I would have $24,606 at the end of year 1. So what are the milestones so far? Well, I've shown this to both Sprints and 2Danes, and both would like to see a prototype. The website is online, and video can be viewed on YouTube. Also, my background is in woodworking. So I have a shop, and I've started to build a solution to the need for sitting and standing. I've had 3 clients now who have wanted to be able to have a sit-stand desk, one for their they wanted a treadmill desk for one of them that matched their traditional furniture, so it was made out of 3/4 wood. And the same thing was for a lawyer who had a mahogany table, and he wanted to have a good-looking wood lectern that goes on top of his desk. He liked it so much he bought another one for his New York office. So with your investment of $10,000, I plan on building a functional sample and pay for marketing materials and be able to fulfill 2 orders. Thank you.
Have you had those 2 orders in hand?
Not yet. There's interest in them, but I haven't gotten the letters of intent. have the executive summary in front of you? I'm sorry.
I haven't had a chance to read.
Okay, on the executive summary, there's a cost of goods sold sheet. I'm sorry? Okay. All right, so I'll break it down for you quickly. The cost of materials is, for maple, $330, and that's assuming a 50% loss on materials. That means for every 2 boards I purchase, 1 gets thrown out. That also means, well, the hydraulics for a 16-inch rise, I believe, are $786. And that comes from a manufacturer called Suspa. They are manufactured in Michigan, and I believe they're based in Germany. They're the same hydraulics used by Porsche. Let's see. The manufacturing cost for making the fixtures that hold up the various components, the custom machining, is an estimated cost of $500 for 5 hours at $100. And the cost for outsourcing, I'm putting it at $900. Outsourcing, see, I'm talking to Westmore Creek, and they are a high-end cabinet manufacturer in Memphis. And what they do is they have, well, they make very nice custom woodwork, but they're mainly a cabinetry maker. And this is very similar to a cabinet when it comes to the way it's manufactured. And they have all the tools and jigs ready to build it. They can build it a lot faster than I can, especially since they have large CNC machines, and they're able to just kind of move these through. So the first one initially will be a little bit expensive as they get all the tooling correct. But as soon as the tooling's there and it matches their jigs and their software, it should be very quickly reproducible.
This is going to be manufactured in the United States, most if not all materials, and that is your cost of goods sold at the store.
That is without the options of the, but the options I'm expecting to be $1,000 added to the cost, or $500 added to the cost, $1,000 to the end consumer. It's a $500 additional profit.
Well, I asked the question because I have an estimate raise, so I'm interested.
Can you, do you have in your plans, are you gonna make these desks? I guess, on the website, are you gonna allow people options where they're really creating their own desk?
Absolutely, I'd love to. One of the companies I admire is Porsche, and one of the great things about Porsche is they give you an extensive options list that allows you to do a semi-customization, where you can start with a $50,000 car, but you can build it all the way up to $112,000.
Do you think this is something that could be retrofitted to this?
No. Sorry. Well, I was going to say something else, and I didn't mean for that to come out quite like that. Sorry about that.
So, Michael, what's your vision? Do you want to market ultimately and license the rights to the manufacturer? Or do you want to own the manufacturing process so you can get it to scale?
The only time I'd ever want to own the manufacturing process would be if I had a proprietary way to make it.
So your plan is to sell this through stores like Smith's, Timmy's, whatever. Can we sell this online too? Or just
Absolutely, I'd like to use online because I think it's great for people to be able to customize it online and take their time. And also, some people just don't like the pressure of shopping in a store, having a salesperson come up and try to pressure them. So online shopping provides a great way of kind of a low-stress environment.
are you going to have at the store, are you going to have ready-to-buy models and factor that into your financials in terms of how are you going to market being a store versus being more on demand and online?
Not so much in the financial model, but I understand what you're saying, where if you give a store a prototype, something that they can touch and feel, but it never necessarily leaves the store. I'm not as familiar with how that works out financially, whether the store purchases that or you give it to them for free. At least in the initial stages, I don't think I can give a $4,000 desk away for free.
I'm trying to understand with your background in woodworking and you're a student, do you have the time to build your prototype, or are you going to try to source your prototype from the very beginning?
I graduate August.
That's a good no or a good yes?
whole bunch of great options because Westmoreland Creek, they suggest they like to use woods that they're currently using. They use soft maple, cherry. It's pretty easy for them to kind of use cabinet materials. Since I have my own production facility, if you want to specify a specific wood, I'd be more than happy to do it.
Do you love the price fluctuation?
They will, absolutely. I'm doing an internship for a lumber wholesaler at the moment, so I get to experience a whole bunch of lumber fluctuations.
Sounds like you're gonna need to do it.
Thank you.
Okay, let's get started. I'm Ivanna Johnson, and this is the Cornucopia. As a culture, we are becoming more aware that what we eat has long-term consequences. We are constantly reminded of the dangers of fast foods and soft drinks, but switching to a completely health-conscious lifestyle isn't something you just wake up and start doing. The three biggest problems facing a switch to a healthy lifestyle are accessibility, affordability, and time. Let me give you an example. You wake up one morning and you say, you know, today's a perfect day to go to the gym, do a light workout, have a healthy dinner, feel great tonight. So you take out your iPad, you type in recipes, because you have to figure out what you're going to make for dinner, right? So maybe go to Pinterest, look through pins. 30 minutes, an hour later, you find something. So you take out your notepad and you make your shopping list. Later on in the day, you get in your car. Now you have another option. You could go to Walmart, but you know that the produce you're buying there is probably GMO, sprayed with all kinds of pesticides, and picked before it was ripe. But hey, it's quick, easy, affordable. Or you could drive all the way to Whole Foods and pay 2 times as much money. Well, you make your choice. So you come home, you cook dinner, it's done, so you serve it. Look at it, you look at your picture. Well, it was close enough. So you call your family in, hope they like it. Let's say it was a success. Everybody loves it. Well, congratulations. But do you have time to go through this whole process every single day? And this was just dinner. What about breakfast and lunch and your fruit and vegetable drinks and your protein shakes in the morning? We can't forget about vitamins and minerals and recommended daily intakes and how much and when and with what. I mean, there has to be an easier way, right? Luckily, there is. It's the Cornucopia. The Cornucopia is a Middle Tennessee restaurant and store with a health-focused menu and farm-fresh produce that is accessible to all income levels. Basically, the Cornucopia is like this backpack. We take all of this and we put it together into one bundle that you can simply come, pick up, and take all the benefits home with you. So how does it work? Let me take just a second to walk you through our restaurant. When you walk in the front entrance, the first thing you're greeted by is a small farmer's market. Here you can purchase your fresh produce, eggs, honey, and other locally produced items. In between the market and the dining room is a juice bar and a pastry bar. At the juice bar, you can custom order your own beverage. Choose from fruits and vegetables, organic sugar and honey, or add-ins like chia seeds and protein powders. For a snack, you can stroll over to the bakery. This is the perfect solution for the shopper who doesn't want a formal meal, just a little treat to snack on, or a healthy breakfast on your way to work, or a protein shake for an athlete before or after workout. Next to the market is your formal dining room. The restaurant's focus is on taking unfamiliar vegetables like bok choy and overused vegetables like broccoli and creating savory new meals. All of our dishes will be $10 or less. This model addresses those 3 big problems. We make healthy food accessible by being the liaison between our local farms and our clients. By selling it fresh in our market and preparing it in our juice bar and restaurant, we take the time burden off the client. And by having 4 streams of revenue, we make it affordable. But at the heart of our business model is our desire to bring transparency to the food market. People have a right to know the difference between a healthy meal and an overpriced menu option, the nutritional contents, and how they can create their own cost-effective meals without having to spend all that time in research. But ultimately, the difference between an action plan and a dream comes down to the financials. This is what it would take to be completely operational and to cover the first few months of operating expenses. Our personnel are mostly part-time staff. Our day is divided into 3 shifts between 7 in the morning and 10 o'clock at night. These numbers reflect the cumulative total of that. Our sales forecast indicates a 10% growth rate between year 1 and 2 and year 2 and 3. To give you an idea of how we got these numbers, we visited different restaurants in the area, counted the number of tables and the clients they served. Based off of this and other recommendations, we came up with the numbers we thought we could achieve. Our restaurant has 20 tables, and we calculated a maximum occupancy between 10 and 70%, depending on the time and day of the week. The restaurant business ebbs and flows throughout the year. We wanted to replicate this. When we created our model, we put a profit during the first few months, then perhaps a decline, and then it picks up again towards the end. Even with a model like this, we hit a profit by the 3rd quarter of our first year. By the end of year 1, we're at a 1% profit. By the end of year 2, we're at 4%. And by the end of year 3, we're at 6%. A restaurant generally wants to be between the 6 and 10% range. Restaurants are helping to boost our economy. By 2024, it is estimated that the restaurant industry in Tennessee will account for 307,000 jobs, or an 8.7% increase in job growth. The restaurant industry is also in the middle of a shift, as consumers are looking for healthier and more locally sourced menu options. The National Restaurant Association surveyed around 1,300 chefs and found that 71% of adults are trying to make more health-conscious decisions than they were just 2 years ago. 6 in 10 people are more likely to choose a restaurant if it's locally sourced, and 7 in 10 are more likely to dine there if they have nutritional options. As previously touched on, one of the biggest market needs is accessibility. From our location in Mount Juliet, it's at least a 30-minute drive without traffic to the nearest Whole Foods or good-sized farmer's market. Did you know, in Davidson County alone, we have at least 40 farms that are actively selling to the public? Our local farms are growing 38 different kinds of vegetables and 15 different kinds of fruit every single year. But there's no good relationship or source of information between our farms and our residents. This is why the Cornucopia plays such a vital role. By contracting with the farmer, we take away their stress as to whether or not they will be able to sell their produce and the time it normally takes them to individually weigh, bag, and spend days in farmers markets, giving us a better price. We can then turn around and sell these bulk deliveries fresh in our market, prepared in our juice bar, in our pastry bar, and in our restaurant. By having lower costs on the front end and 4 streams of revenue on the back end, it allows us to dramatically reduce our costs while still reaching our goal of raising awareness in the community. Tennessee has a population of about 6.5 million people. Of this population, our target market is the 750,000 living in Davidson and Wilson County. Our early adopters would be the middle to upper class exercise enthusiasts, vegetarians, and health-conscious individuals. A good marketing plan starts before the doors ever open. The Cornucopia will launch a 100-day marketing strategy. Each member of our management team will be assigned a different section of the city to begin actively networking in. This could be attending local events or frequenting farmers markets. We'll also launch our website and social media presence. In phase 2, we'll begin to run our advertisement specials and do publicity stunts. This could be cooking demonstrations or food tasting events. And in the last phase, we'll continue our marketing and do our staff training. But this won't end once we open, but we'll continue to grow and evolve. We've set aside $96,000 or $8,000 a month for marketing in our first year, with a 3% growth between year 1 and 2 and year 2 and 3. In Tennessee, there are no businesses that exactly match our business model, but there are a few that share similarities. The closest is the Trolley Stop Market. They are a farmer's market with an affordably priced restaurant. However, it's mostly geared as a quick stop center with sandwiches, hamburgers, and pizza. It's also located in Memphis, just a little bit of a drive. In Nashville, we have places like the Husk and the Capitol Grill, but these places are pricey, and they're not close to our location. The Cornucopia is the only one that addresses all of these. We're local, we're working with the community, and we cut the price in at least half. At the Cornucopia, our passion is to build that bridge between our clients and the local resources already around us, and to show people how they can empower their lives by making healthy decisions. This is the team. I'm Ivanna Johnson. Maribel Castaman is the executive chef. Vicki Havner is the pastry chef and general manager, and our architect is Don Johnson. And this is the Cornucopia, where we bring community and health together. Thank you. Yes.
And I was looking at the idea that it looks like you're intending to buy land in the building?
Yes, as of right now, this is kind of what we're facing. I've been out in the Mount Juliet area, and right now, everything that's moving into the area is pretty much having to be built. So there are no buildings right now for sale. I've been checking the real estate markets that match what we want to do that we can move into. And so if we were to locate in Mount Juliet, we'd most likely have to purchase and build it.
So are you planning on trying to fund that capital requirement debt or equity? How this is a big
Right.
in some respects.
Right. So I would look at splitting it. 40% I would like to try and raise from investors, and then the rest would be a traditional bank loan.
So how do you address seasonality in production cycles?
Right.
With fresh vegetables that are going to come from local sourcing?
Okay.
That's one question.
Right.
And I have a good follow-up
Okay.
after you finish.
Okay, perfect. Yes, so seasonality is an issue. In the beginning, we're going to be limited. So we are going to partner with traditional places like Cisco and Chinese markets and stuff to fill in the gaps. And we're going to try and work with the farmers as much as we can to get the local produce that is here. But what we're doing that's different is right now, most restaurants are looking at places like Nashville Grown, where you go online and you order and then they deliver it. What we want to do is we want to contract with the farmer. So I would go to the farmer and say, hey, you have an acre of land. I would like you to grow this, this, and this for me. And they could say, okay, and then whatever grows on the land is delivered to us, so I know exactly what I'm ordering and when. And so between the two of those, we want to be as local as we can, but we may have to fill in with other options as well.
So the different divisions that you're talking about,
Yes.
do you know which ones are you planning to have the highest margins in?
Okay.
Which section do you think is going to be the most profitable for you?
Actually, I think I have that. So, all right. Okay, so first year, in our casual dining, we are accounting to have the most, just because we can charge more for it. Then we'll have additional revenue that will come in from our pastry and juice bars. But this is pretty much the breakdown for the first 6 months that we predicted on.
Are you advertising yourself? I mean, are you, I guess, are you putting yourself out there as being organic, all natural, or some kind of?
We would mostly stick to the farm-to-table connotation. The organic title is very difficult to come by. There are a lot of farms in Tennessee that currently use organic methods, but they haven't obtained the license to be labeled organic. So we're looking for those kind of practices, but we're not necessarily limiting it to that at first.
A lot of farms around here still use pesticides.
Right, but there are a lot. I was speaking to a member, he's on the Toga, Tennessee Organic Growers Association, and they have like 20 members. And so he knows a lot of the organic farmers and a lot of the farmers that use the same practices but don't have the certifications. And so he was interested in this as well.
Are you also going to pull in local meats, dairy?
As of right now, the concept is for a vegetarian restaurant, and so it will help as far as costs go because meat is so much more expensive. But yes, this is the goal.
Could you give us a little bit more of your own personal background?
Yes. I graduated in May from here with a molecular biology degree and a chemistry minor. And then now I'm in the Master of Management program. But I also work at Second Harvest, and so I've been doing some food research and development in their section as well, working with nutritional labels and how the government does all that as well.
And is Vicky Havenar the
Yes, I wanted to mention that. I didn't have time. Vicky Havnar, she has owned a restaurant and a catering company. She's been in the food service industry for about 20 years. And then my executive chef actually graduated from a culinary school and currently works as a chef. And all of those people have currently expressed interest in actually joining and partnering with this if it would launch.
investing with you?
No, actually coming in and doing it. Not like the money part, but as far as the job comes. So like coming and being the executive chef or the pastry chef.
Looking at the startup cost, it's a decent capital outlay. But I don't see anything for marketing or development or anything. How are you planning on attracting people to it?
Okay, yes, the market on that startup sheet, that was simply what it would take to get us to like open the door, physically open the door. And so the marketing I budgeted in the first year forecast. And then, so we plan on doing a lot of the typical marketing channels, you know, doing advertisements, frequenting places where people already attend, so farmers markets or flea markets and Whole Foods, places like that, and then other sources like cookie demonstrations or food tasting events. All right. Thank you.
All right, well, good evening, everyone. We're here on behalf of S&G Capital. S&G Capital is an alternative investment fund, and we're striving to change the world of finance with collaborative innovation. A little background about our team. The fund was founded by myself, Trevor, Gormley, and Josh Enderle. Josh Enderle is a junior accounting student. I have an undergraduate degree in accounting, and I'm currently pursuing an MBA degree in finance while working with the Tennessee Valley Authority doing financial analysis and auditing. And this is Trevor Gormley, a junior finance student and reoccurring guest on CNBC's Closing Bell, and he currently works with the United Bank of Switzerland.
The structure of the fund is that we take 100% of the money that is invested with us and we put it in the S&P. Then we take 50% margin on that money that's been invested and use it to trade our own strategy. So to use an example from an individual, somebody gives us $100,000. This lets us borrow $50,000 against that money. So we take that original $100,000 and put it in the S&P, and we take the 50% or the $50,000 and trade it on our strategy. This allows us to capture all of the market's return and also capture some upside on the strategy that we trade. So with the way the market works, it is better to stay on the long side and let the profits run longer. So we have less strict rules for how we trade our longs. What we do is if it retraces 4% from the peak, we automatically stop loss it. And we take our gain right there. Or we'll switch to cut out if the indicator switches. On the short side, we're aiming to get quicker profits and safer profits because the market rebounds faster on the short side. We don't want to get caught. So on each profit, we're aiming to get 1.9%. And if we make a bad trade and the signal's not right, we close out at a 3% loss. We're allowed to go in and out of the position. So if we capture 1.9% profit, we can go back in on the same trend and capture another 1.9% profit. So to look at how this works on a trade, right here we had the S&P, and this is in 2008 when it was taking a beating. So if we're looking at our signals, we have a short signal right here, and that is at 140.71. The market sidetracks for a little bit, and then it jumps down, and we grab a profit at 138.04. Now, when we do that, we wait a couple days to see if conditions change, and since they don't in this downtrend, we would have gotten back in for a couple more 1.9% profits.
I'm going to give a brief recap of how the market performed in 2013 as well as some of the fund managers. And we chose 2013 because it was a great year that provided many ways for investors to be profitable, such as real estate investing, and simply investing in the S&P 500 was great that year. However, hedge fund managers were only able to return 7.4% profit. And while that sounds like a good gain, relative to 2013, that's a fairly small gain, which we'll talk about in coming slides. And this brings up the question of why were these managers unable to raise more? Here are some companies we selected from Bloomberg, just randomly selected from Bloomberg, and they have their asset under management listed so you can get an idea of the size of the firm. The first is Paulson & Company. They gained 31% using a risky strategy, which was leveraging stressed companies and bankruptcy. Bridgewater Capital gained a mere 5.3% that year using a pure alpha fund. MKP Capital, 11% gain using a global macro fund. And Hutchinson Hill Capital, earning 19% with a diversified alpha master fund. Here we have a comparison of all these companies to our fund, the S&G Capital Fund in green, as you see here. We have the average hedge fund return, as we mentioned earlier, in red at 7.4%. Now, in comparison to all these companies, you can see that we were over 2% more profitable than the highest earning hedge fund that we mentioned earlier. And we were also over 1% more profitable than the market, leaving our clients with a gain net of fees of 1.29%. And using the most commonly accepted backtesting periods of 1, 3, 5, and 10 years, we were able to prove that our market would outperform the S&P 500 index in all of these time periods.
So the question is, how are we different? What really changes us and separates us from the competition? The average investor knows that you cannot time the market. It is very difficult. You can't just come in and come out. Warren Buffett tells that strategy all the time. So we are against that strategy in whole. And rather than timing the market, we want to look for elongated swings and elongated downswings to be able to profit. Our strategy has yielded 11.13% over the 10-year and a 5% outperformance in 2008. In comparison, in the 10-year, the S&P only returned 9.49%. And the great thing is we always have a long position, so we're always returning a 1.18% dividend to our shareholders annually, which is not included in any of the results you see here. So why is it important? 24% of fund managers and money managers over the last 100 years, only 24% of them have been able to beat the S&P on a 10-year basis. We are planning to create value by lowering our fees. Obviously, we are college students. We're not trying to gyp people and take value from our clients. We are improving a strategy using artificial information and plugging it back into our system to continually improve the algorithm and the strategy that we have incorporated in the fund. So here's a return by year or periods. I'd like to focus on 2008. The market returned negative 36.8%, and using our strategy, we returned 4% just in the strategy, or the 50% margin that we traded. Now, if you calculate those together, our overall fund was down 34%. Now, that may sound like a rough number, but that 2% extra buying power goes in for the next year, actually extrapolates the gains over the next few years prior to that collapse in 2008. So what is the end result? Over a 10 years, starting in 2005, the S&P in Seoul returned $108 million on a $100 million investment. Our fund returned $115 million with less downside risk. We created over $7 million in net value for our clients, not including dividends. We are targeting to qualified investors only. Salary over $200,000 a year, or qualified investor is anybody with net worth over $1.5 million minus the value of their home. So our current checklist, we do have an LLC in place. We are structuring another LLC and an LLP to act as our investment advisor and a limited partnership between the three you see here. In conversation, we also are getting ready to have an issuing so that we can actually get seed capital for this fund. We have $5,000 in the market currently of our own money, which isn't a lot compared to what we put up front. But we put this in at the end of the March, and we're waiting for our signal to get in the market using our strategy. So here are some of the statistics. Using the last 3 years in the market and projecting forward, our fund statistics are up top. We're using a 1.5% management fee. Now, as you can see, year one, our revenue off a $100 million fund would be $1.5 million, a generous salary, but below the average for most hedge funds. Our legal fees would expense to $25,000 because upfront, year one, we have to put a lot of money into making sure we're not doing the wrong thing. The margin fees are our biggest expenses over a 3, 5, or 10-year period because we have to pay the interest back to the broker when we borrow the funds on margin. So our EBITDA, or earnings before taxes, would have been $1.2 million on a $100 million fund, which is relatively small in the hedge fund industry. We seek to create value with our clients. We want to continue allowing the market to extrapolate gains, not just in the market, but outside of the market as well, and bring a great name back to the hedge fund industry. Thank you for your time, and we're open for questions.
Trevor, you said that you had put $5,000 between you. Was that equally distributed?
Yes.
And was that, you said it's essentially sitting on the sidelines waiting for your signal.
Yes.
So describe it please, what is your signal?
The signal is a set of technical indicators, so it combines a couple of some measures of standard deviation in the market. So we track price movements using it, and when certain rules are set, it sets a long or a short signal for us. So we don't have to make an emotional decision. It always has just certain rules by which we make the trade.
So those are the same rules that you used in order to establish this track record?
Yes.
Historic data?
Yes.
So the goal of the $5,000 is to be able to produce audited results for our clients when that time comes. So that's why it's sitting there waiting and will be used for that.
Over the next 6 months, we're looking to have it issuing after that 6 months, after we get all the legal documents filled.
Is this algorithm, is it automated?
So we have to change it. So we're managing the algorithm itself, but it's not very labor intensive. We only check it once a day, and we change it based on the extrapolations that you saw in the constraints on about the third or fourth slide when we go bullish or bearish. So we are changing the aspect of the algorithm on occasion, but over the long haul, we did not change it for the past 10 years. It was the exact same thing for every single trade over a 10-year span.
Is this algorithm unique enough to be active?
Yes. Yes.
Will that?
Yes, we have. We currently feel that the lawyer aspect is the first thing that we need to get into, because if we can get the legal fees and the back tests and the funding, it will be very easily to progress to be able to fund the patent, because those are expensive as well. I also like to point out that we are looking to be 100% transparent with our clients. We've talked to our lawyer, and we think that coming from Lipscomb University, we really want to provide the most transparency to all of our clients. We're aiming first to break even at $25 million. Anything we go above that, we have to keep it within a 15-client realm, because we feel that we want to be very close to our client and let them know that if in 2008, if something happens like that, we have the test results that say if you hold, our strategy can prove out higher than the market, and we can continue to generate profits better than any other wealth manager in the country.
Talk to me about how you establish the perfect client profile. How did you do that?
So what happens is, because we are not licensed technically to trade as a broker, a Series 7 license, we have a leeway with the way that the government set everything up. And as long as the investor were those qualifications, they technically have the own responsibility to do the due diligence on the fund, which is why we brought up the transparency and made sure that we're able to tell our clients what exactly we're doing at all times.
So you have the startup cost of, well, looking at that $35,000 in cash. So tell me how you do the $10,000.
The $10,000 will go to lawyer fees. Lawyer fees can range from a wide variety, especially in the hedge fund industry, because we want to cover all aspects. That's actually a high ball for our lawyer fees for year one. But the biggest aspect that we want to attribute the $10,000 to is to be able to keep our margin costs low. We get charged 1.75% for borrowing the money from the broker. So we have to make sure that we can keep those fees down. And if we can get this $10,000, then we can actually put the $10,000 towards the trading fees, and we can actually trade margin off of that and be able to get better tested results.
You already got established relationships with brokers.
Yes. Yeah, we're using Option House and Trade Monster. They actually just merged recently. So we're continually trying to, actually a coworker of mine was a former broker there, so he actually extended those relationships.
How long has your $5,000 been assembled, and how long has it been sitting on the sidelines?
Less than 2 weeks.
Roughly a week.
So we,
Yeah.
so you populate the fund, you set your parameters up, and then it's just interesting to me, how long does it take for, on average, for your signals to trip? You have this great history, but
It takes, so we only trade 12 to 13 times a year. So like I said earlier, it's not labor intensive. So we're in a trade for an average of 10 days, and we're looking for the long upswings and downswings. Now, the justification of saying where the margin and when the next trade will be, only the math can tell us. We are not biased towards any opinion, which leaves out the emotional state of this. But we can tell off of ramifications that we've set when to get in and when to get out of the market, but it's usually an average of 1 trade per month.
So patents are today a different thing than they were, say, 2 years ago. And if you disclose, if you're the first to register, you know, it's not first to invent anymore, it's first to file. So if you think you have a unique outperforming process or structure identified, and you are looking to do a patent, and that would be describing to the world what your strategy is. Why wouldn't you keep your investment strategy an intellectual secret?
Well, that's something that we talked a little about, and that's basically we're split 3 ways through the fund. So obviously 2 out of 3 wins, and if we have a split, then we can't figure it out, we're going to keep it a secret. It's between us 3. And the great thing that I forgot to mention is that last night we were in Starbucks until about 2 a.m., and this strategy works for a great company named Apple, and it returns almost 3 times what we were returning here. So it doesn't just work for the S&P 500, it works for the individual stocks as well.
So if you traded Apple on these indicators,
it would actually produce higher returns because the S&P is consisted by a weighting standard, and Apple is the most heavily weighted in the S&P now. And so essentially, we're tracking everything off of, so if Apple is weighted 5%, we are essentially targeting towards Apple, which gives us the great returns, what I said, about 3 times what we're returning here. Thank you guys, we appreciate it.
All right, my name is Hannah Phillips. I am the owner and founder of Shoals Branch, LLC. Shoals Branch is a fully functioning, it's a bed and breakfast located on a 115-acre fully functioning farm, meaning its working operations include growing livestock and produce for sale to the public. But it's not your average bed and breakfast, and it's not your average farm. It's more accurately called a farm stay, which is a type of agritourism where tourists and families in the local community can come and take part in farm activities such as animal or crop care, cooking and cleaning, handicrafts and entertainment. And this Shoals Branch serves individuals, families with children, and like I said, the local community, corporate groups that want to put the cell phone down and get away from technology and just connect with all that rural life has to offer. Put yourself in the shoes of one of our guests, and you are enjoying the natural, rustic atmosphere, and you're being inspired. You're given a daily agenda of activities and adventures that you can participate on throughout the farm. Those adventures could be milking a cow, you could collect some eggs, you could go gardening, you could pick or harvest the seasonal crop, and all the time our hired hands will assist you and guide you and provide this real life experience, hands-on experience. In between those adventures and your meals throughout the day, there will be time for leisurely activities as well, such as walking the trails, swimming in the creek, zip lining, cooking classes, bonfires, and stargazing at night. We can host your weddings, your corporate retreats, your special events, birthday parties with the over 90 schools in Metro Nashville and over 40 schools in Williamson County, tons of time and opportunities for field trips in the local community. And all of our facilities are disability friendly and smoke free. Currently, there are 8 farm stays throughout Tennessee. The Red Star is where Shoals Branch is located. The closest one to downtown Nashville is over 2.5 hours away. Shoals Branch is unique in the fact that it's less than an hour's drive from downtown Nashville. So local families and travelers through Tennessee State Capitol will now be able to conveniently experience the value and the joy of a farm stay. And another reason that separates Shoals Branch from the other farm stays is the fact that we will give a portion of our farm productions and 100% of the surplus to the Community Food Advocates, which is a nonprofit organization that has a food stamp system called SNAP, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. And I want to give to that program. I want to support that food stamp program with our organic produce. And how we're going to transport it from Fairview to downtown Nashville and those food desert communities is through the Nashville Mobile Market. They will be our food trucks and our transportation system. The urban inner city residents that don't have access to the Whole Foods or the price tag or don't want to waste precious resources driving to a Whole Foods. Their closest grocery store is a Dollar General at best with canned fruits and veggies. Well, I believe that good health shouldn't be out of reach financially or geographically. And Shoals Branch's goal is to make Nashville a healthier community. And we're going to do this through our partnership with the Nashville Mobile Market and the community food advocates. So why now? Why start a farm stay and start growing crops? It's fun to do a zip line, but why now? The farm-to-table trend is booming. It's huge. Food prices are the highest they've been since August 2011, and they're predicted to only get higher. The average income American should expect a 2.5 to 3.5 increase in their grocery bill. So where does that leave the lower income families? How are they going to have access to the healthy local choices? They won't be able to keep up. Another reason is, this is an article from the Tennessean that was printed this past February. It's talking about how Fairview is the next big thing. It is the last frontier of Williamson County. Basically, this is going to be more foot traffic into Shoals Branch for our day activities. There are hundreds of homes about to be built for under $200,000 and sold at under $200,000, which is our customer segment, families with children. It's just going to be an awesome way to get more people in the door, starting closer to home as I reach out into Nashville as well. We're going to start out as a CSA. That's what our farming technique is going to start out. A CSA is the community-supported agriculture. So basically, that's an agreement between you. You purchase a share of my garden, and that share is going to go to the costs of it, the farm expenses, the labor, the purchase of the seeds and the supplies. And in return, you're going to get a 23-weekly basket of the seasonal crop. And I'm going to reserve a portion of those crops and the organic produce for the community food advocates. So that will always be there. There will be some surplus that don't fit into the baskets, and that's what the CSA will be there for. Families find it hard today to spend time with their kids and their extended family without the presence of technology. And Shoals Branch is bringing back the importance of community and family time. And by providing these adventures and these educational opportunities, and plus there's no service out there anyway, so you can't bring your iPhones or anything like that. I expect the year 2016 to start generating revenue, and I have 2 revenue streams. The outdoor activities will be 85% of my revenue, and then the CSA will be the remainder. These expenses are what I know as of now, but they can change. I made a gross margin assumption of 38%, which I did by identifying the costs that I know of today. This slide shows revenue and margin, and I'm still determining the operating expenses as I go, because I am currently in the cleanup process right now. And over this past weekend, I went out there with 5 people, and what I thought was a 3-hour day turned into something that's going to take 5 truckloads over a series of days. The sweat I put into now is bush hogging the land, picking up the barbed wire out there. I've purchased the Shoals Branch name. It's an LLC. And this weekend, over Easter weekend actually, we went to pull this barn down and to reclaim and recycle some of the wood. And I'll sell off some of it as well. But this is kind of what it looked like. It took about 3 hours to find a good spot. And we took some of this time to organize the wood, de-nail the wood, pick out what I wanted to keep, what I could use to reclaim it, sell it off. I mean, it's turned into a bit of a longer process than I had expected it to be, as you can see. And what I need to do now is determine my financing and my capital projects, and I want an advisory board. I currently have 3 members who are wonderful, a legal advisor, a financial advisor, and a nonprofit advisor who works closely with the youth programs with the YMCAs. And I also need a work truck, which is what I'm going to do with that $10,000. I have found a Ford F-150 for about $20,000, and I want to use this $10,000 to buy that work truck to help me load some of that wood, get started. Shoals Branch is going to provide you and your family the opportunity to play farmer for a day. It's a phenomenal way to work on team bonding, build unique memories, and get involved in your Middle Tennessee community. I have had this idea for a while now. It's family land, and it's important to me. This Masters of Management program that I'm enrolled here at Lipscomb has given me the vehicle to drive this idea into a reality. If you want to volunteer your sweat, come on, I'll take you. But follow my progress at www.shoalsbranch.com. It's a blog I've started to get so my followers and supporters can track my progress. So thank you so much. I appreciate your time. And do you have any questions?
I'm glad you didn't turn that into bed and breakfast.
I know. I could use some of the wood for it. Put a piece of it in there somewhere.
There's a, I think I saw a picture of a house on the property.
There is a, yes. There are two structures out there right now. One was that barn you just saw. Another was a small house. They're both pretty dilapidated and unsafe. And actually the house, I'm getting the ATF, alcohol, tobacco, firearms, to come out there, do a training exercise, and blow it up. And they'll help me clean it up as well. So that's another kind of volunteer activity I've got going on. Just everything is to rebuild and rehab. I mean, I'm not using these structures that are out there right now. Yeah.
So what is your plan in terms of generating revenue? I know you have the CSA, but are you also trying to go into the corporations that come out there for team building exercises or weddings?
I won't have the weddings until I get the next barn up and built. But first, yeah, the CSA is going to start in May. That's buying the seeds and planting and tilling, and that's happening in May. The hiking trails are being laid out. The zip line, if I can get enough money to purchase that, get it set up, get the installment, get the helmets, get the harnesses, that's going to be up too. You can swim in the creek. It's safe. I swear, no snake. Well, maybe some snakes. But that's kind of how it's going to start for the first year. So right now I'm in the cleanup phase in the building process.
So you talked about advisors. Have you got any worker-doer hands that can help you? It sounds like a lot for one person to do.
Oh yeah, I've got tons of friends who want to come and help. I coach at a local high school. It's kind of a project with the girls. They'll come out there, do a team bonding, help me. I thought about getting service day here at Lipscomb, but I was a little late because it's today. And yeah, tons of volunteers. If you guys want to come and help, we'd love to have you. Really?
So share with us just a little bit about your background and why you think you're uniquely positioned to do this.
I am a local kid from here. I'm from Williamson County. I was born and raised in Brentwood, went to Brentwood High School. I played basketball here at Lipscomb University. I love this community. I went, I thought I was going to, journeys change. What I thought I was going to do when I graduated here didn't happen. I went overseas and played professional basketball. And the culture over there, the agriculture was beautiful. And then I found out about this Masters of Management program here. And I'd always had this family farm in the background as well. It's just sitting there. It's part of my family's land. It was my father's. He's since passed away, and it's with us now. I've become a good steward of this land, and everything's just kind of fallen into place where I want to give back to this Williamson County, Nashville, Davidson County community. And I have the land, and I have the means, and I have the passion. Why would I let that sit there and become overgrown? In a nutshell is why I want to do it.
And how much does it cost to build zip lines and putting helmets and things like that?
It ranges. The big one that I want is about $50,000 to purchase and install.
So you're purchasing the zip,
The line, the harnesses, the stands that it goes on, and then it also depends. It can go from $50,000 to $100,000 depending on how long I want it. It could just be a fun thing if I wanted to get a mile-long one. I don't know. But yeah, it depends.
So have you given, you got out there starting in 2016, what's the minimum value proposition that you have to have in place before someone's going to start paying you money? And what I see is you're looking for a truck, and I accept that, but I'm trying to think about what is it that is a facility? If you cleared all this, what's the facility that generates revenue?
Besides the CSA and
Okay, so the farming will generate revenue?
yes,
And
the amount that I'm gonna what I'm gonna price it and.
just a little bit more about the revenue. How do you get the revenue?
A lot of that is kind of outside of my scope right now because I'm still just trying to build and get to that point. So, I mean, it's out of my scope is what I can say. I just don't have that just yet.
Is that a picture of you right there?
Yeah, that's me.
What's up
tetanus shot.
Are you going to market it? Have you just talked to customers about this particular use of the land and coming out and signing up?
Just sports teams. I mean, because of my connection here, gone to the coaches, they love it. They want to come have their team bonding out here. Some corporate groups, the company I work for, they're all for their corporate retreat here. It actually started the idea, I should have included this in my answer earlier, the idea of having one of my best friends got engaged and she was looking around for outdoor barn wedding venues. And she was saying base price started at $30,000 for this wedding, and I was just thinking, oh my goodness. And that was before I went overseas and then came back. And so that was planted then. So I think it's been, kind of a journey of how I thought I was going to do it. But I like that I am passionate about the social venture part of it, and not just weddings. We can think of more questions. Thank you guys so much. Do you have any?
All right, judges and everybody else who's here tonight, I am really excited to present to you GimbalMED. My name's Cameron Lowry, and this is our project to work on the wireless endoscope. To give you a brief introduction on endoscopy, it's a very, very common procedure found all throughout the world, especially in the United States. A good example would be a carpal tunnel release. So carpal tunnel is something that a lot of people struggle with. There are over 500,000 carpal tunnel release operations per year. And what it is essentially is you have a tendon that gets really tight right here. It creates a lot of stress, a lot of pain. And in the olden days, they used to open this up wide open. They'd go in and they'd clip that tendon and release all the pressure. Now, in new age surgery technique, they use what they call an endoscope. They make a small incision, they slide the endoscope in, they can see it on the camera, and they can release that tendon remotely with a little knife. They pull that endoscope out, they put a little Bondoderm on there, and you don't even have stitches. You're done. It's a 25, 35-minute operation. It's an awesome procedure. Now, it's kind of funny. You walk in to watch one of these endoscopy surgeries, and everything's shiny, it's state-of-the-art, it's fantastic, until you see the actual camera that attaches to the endoscope. It's clunky. It's really old technology for what we have available nowadays. The two cables, you can see three, but the two main cables are, this is the light source to the endoscope, and this is the cable to the camera. These cables run right through the sterile field. They run from the sterile field to a big tower that does your video and does your light source. It's unnecessary. And the problem is, it hasn't really been an option to improve upon this technology because it didn't exist until recently. What's most exciting about the product that we're working with is that we finally have the technology that's available now. And not only that, but it's affordable. So what you can see here is a Nereus Prime. This is an HDMI wireless transmitter. There is no lag. It's rated to about 1 millisecond lag. There's no conceivable, no noticeable lag that you see on the camera. The other really exciting part about it is it's small. It's very small technology. Another part that really excites us is it's using the HDMI encryption standards, which helps us with HIPAA violations, and it's also secured. This is pretty much the golden ticket to what our project is and what we're working on. So to talk about why we're doing what we're doing right now is because it's not there yet. We know that this is going to be something in the future. We know that we have competition who are also working on this idea because it seems really, really trivial to have cables in the operating room, where something is so focused on being sterile and being up to state-of-the-art and improving all these technologies, it seems trivial to have cables running through this. So we know this is something that's going to happen. We hope to be the first to enter the market. We'd like to enter in and take part of this and really make an impact. The good part is current endoscopy towers are extremely expensive, $60,000 to $90,000 in price. They're also very, very large. And in the operating room, there's not a lot of real estate. So you've got a massive tower taking up a lot more space than is necessary. Also, very, very few centers, if any, have just one endoscopy tower. The backup to an endoscopy tower is another endoscopy tower. So for surgical centers, they have to buy 2 of these. Now, because we're still a little ways out from where we're going to be once we enter the market, we've based our pricing around a $5,000 to $10,000 price. The good part is our working prototype is less than $1,000 right now. That's including the scope, light source, and all of the components to do the video. So we have a substantial markup, as well as we can offer this to places that don't currently have this technology. My partner, who I'll talk about more later, is an orthopedic surgeon, and one of the things he would like to do is be able to do these procedures in his office. Well, that's not very easy when the device is $90,000. The other part about this is a lot of ambulatory surgical centers in smaller towns can't afford $90,000 endoscopy towers. even though they have surgeons who can perform these types of operations. We hope to capitalize on that market as well. Now, what makes us unique and where we're really excited about this, like I said, is we have the components to make this work. I was really excited to bring in my prototype and show you tonight, but unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, we have an electrical engineer who's doing our consulting work for us right now, who's putting my pieces together. So he's stripping down all of my hard components that I've made and actually bundling them up, doing battery testing, figuring out what our longevity is, also what kind of power sources we need. It's really exciting. I'm trying not to get too excited about it, but genuinely, I met with him yesterday. I had to take him another device, and it's super fun to see this rolling and progressing. What you can see in the bottom right corner is the 3D printer, which we recently invested in so that I can do our rough prototyping from home. The idea behind this is that if I can make the prototypes from a 3D printer, then when we get to injection molding and the further steps down the road, we'll be able to come in and say, hey, here it is. Let's model it after this, which that's a really fun part for me, and I've been really enjoying that. Now, one of the other greatest parts about our product is once we have a working product and we've gone through FDA and a couple of the other features that I'll talk about after, we already have an established chain of supply. Right now, there are lots of medical distribution companies who are just dying to get their hands on new products because it works great for them. They don't make a cut unless they sell something. And we make a product and they sell it, so everybody wins. They get a cut of how many proceeds we make, and so they're driven, we're driven, and the lines are already established. My partner has multiple distribution companies who have already approached him, and they're always asking, hey, are there any new products? Do you have any ideas? He's done a lot of consulting in the past. So that chain is already established once we have a product to bring to market. We also, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention, we also are going to put publication, our PR work, inside of existing journals for medical technology. Not peer-reviewed journals, but more medical technology, new devices, things like that, so we can get exposure to physicians who are reading that now. The good part about that is it's a very specific target market. You don't typically pick those up and read those unless you are a physician and you're in that industry. So it gives us a great shot right to the people we're trying to get to. Now, we know we have competition. This is both good and bad. One of the good things about this is we know that the idea is sound. We know that Arthrex is one of the main makers of the tall towers that exist now. We know from their sales reps that they are currently working on developing this technology, and they're also struggling with some of the same issues that we've been struggling with: size, some of the wireless capabilities, and some of the battery issues. The good thing is we're small, they're big, and we're all struggling with the same issues, and we seem to have gotten through a lot of those in the time being, so we're excited about that. The other aspect is we are trying to come in and charge a lot less for our device. Our goal is not to have the top end, these massive markups like they're doing right now, because there are few people in this market, so they can charge whatever they want. We, again, want to come in at an affordable, cost-effective way to have endoscopy and hopefully change that aspect. Intellectual properties. This is one of the biggest parts about our design. And I wanted to briefly talk about GoPro. GoPro is an extremely successful company, and it's interesting because their patents are not on the camera. Patents on cameras have long been gone in terms of availability on that, so where their patents are on their case. Their case and design is GoPro's gold. They have struggled and worked and worked and worked to find the perfect case, and that's where their patent is. That's the same angle that we want to take. We want to design our product in such a way that we can patent our case and our housing for our camera. We are currently in the process of doing a patent exhaustion search. We've put together all the components that we need, and that should start either this weekend or the beginning of next week in terms of getting back where we're infringing, where we're not infringing, what opportunities there are for patents, and we're going down that process at this time. Part of that $10,000 will help towards those patent exhaustion fees, which are steep and add up quite readily. As I mentioned, this is my team. My partner is Jason Haslam, who is a board-certified orthopedic surgeon. He's a hand specialist here in Nashville. His undergraduate degree was in mechanical engineering, so he also has a knack for that side of the business. My story is I'm an information technology major here at Lipscomb with a minor in business and biology, and I will be attending medical school this August. I start my first year with hopes to someday be an orthopedic surgeon. That's part of my interest in this company, is that's what I want to do someday. Now, our projections and where we want to go for the next year especially. FDA approval is a big, big hurdle that we have to get over. Now, orthopedic and radiological devices are some of the quicker devices to get FDA approved. This is good. From 2014, as you can see on the pie chart here, worst case scenario, we're looking within a year. Now, obviously, there are some unknowns that we don't have at this moment. It could take longer than that, but we're hoping, based off of projections from last year and other devices that were rolled through, that we can do this in under a year for our FDA approval. 22%, that 3 months would be fantastic. But we're hopeful that we can get this through, and also I have calls out to the FDA. They have a small business office that take personal calls, and I'm waiting for those calls back to further that process. The other thing that we hope to do within the next 6 months, and we will be doing, is we will be filing for our patents. We hope to crank out our design and get some of that part finished so that we can file for our patents. Now, obviously, getting those patents can take up to years, but we hope to file for them and get ourselves protected, also get patent insurance on that. The other aspect is we have to finish the prototype and design in order to file for those patents. So that's what we're hoping to do in the next 6 months. Where are we now? I briefly mentioned I have an electrical engineer putting our components together. So we're just about to jump further into the design stage and figuring out which way we can design, how we can get around certain aspects, and especially protect ourselves with our idea. I'm most excited about the potential for growth. There are over 5,500 ambulatory surgical centers just in the United States alone. In Tennessee, there are 156 centers. If we sold just one endoscopy camera to each of those centers at $10,000, that's over $1.5 million of revenue. Now, most of the time, we're going to be selling these in pairs. That's over $3 million just with ambulatory services in Tennessee. Now, we know that there is massive potential in terms of to take this global, and ultimately, we're excited about making the product that could change the future. What questions do you have for me?
How do you plan to, what are your startup costs on this? Patents is expensive, you got a lot of attorney fees in there as well, FDA, you know.
Yeah, there's some big startup costs. We're, in terms of our startups for cameras and device equipment that we've gone into, and that we've invested about $1,500 in that so far to get all of the components that I had to tinker with and figure out to get that part working. The printer we invested in was about $1,300. It was $1,350. That's now taken care of. The good thing is operating costs on that is really, really cheap. The materials on that. Exhaust and search, we were quoted $3,000 to $4,000. The patent attorney who will be doing the synopsis of that or the review of that is a patient of my partner who is going to help us out with some of those fees. That's a nice, he amputated his finger. So not a great situation on how we got that connection, but he's helping us out on that part. So that's cutting costs there. We do definitely have some, right. We definitely have some fees coming up in terms of getting our approvals as well as our molding. All of that will come. We're hoping once we have a working prototype, I don't know the answer on some of those moldings and where we're going to be on that. I know that we have had interest from friends and from other people that I know of getting venture capitalists, people who are interested in our design and interested in our product. Right now, we're most interested in keeping our equity and getting people who are interested in partnering because we really want to hold on to that. We think we have a good option. Another option would be, as well as once we have our intellectual properties, is some of these bigger companies oftentimes approach smaller companies and ask to buy out. And we're not necessarily opposed to that. We could be interested in that if the price was right and if it was in our best interest, but that's kind of where we're going with that in the future.
So Cameron, you have a partner who's a successful medical professional. You're intending to become a successful medical professional. Who's going to run this company?
Yeah, it's a good question. One of the things is, so right now, initially, I graduate in May, and I don't start school till August, so my entire summer is dedicated to getting our prototype and getting that worked out. Now, from that point forward, between him balancing his time and me balancing my time, we hope to keep it as long as we can between us, but once it comes to that point, one of us will have to step down or step up to, or we'll have to hire somebody and bring them in. Ultimately, I definitely want to continue my career path through med school because once I have an MD degree, that will give me more validity in the company. But we'll definitely have to bring somebody on to help us out. And I guess we'll have to cross that bridge once we get there. It's something we've thought a lot about and talked a lot about.
So what I'm hearing is a lot of careful thought in patent infringement and design and elements of intellectual property. And I'm also hearing you want to make it. I'm hearing you want to take it to market. So I'm trying to distill the plan. What I'm hearing is you want to design it, build it, protect it, and take it to market. Is that right?
Yes, yeah. I would. That's our dream. I'd love to be behind the company that does this. I think that's what excites me the most.
Does this only have a use for the carpal tunnel?
No, I didn't. Sorry, I didn't bridge. I didn't talk on that much. This has any use of endoscopy cameras that are attached, and there are lots and lots of those. There are intestinal, there are abdominal, there are multiple surgeries. There's carpal tunnel, there's knee, everything that attaches. And this is another big selling point for us, is there's no new learning curve for the physician. Because all of the endoscopes, we're planning on just using those because there are so many companies that make those and so specific, that will attach to our camera. And so anything that uses a current endoscopy camera and tower will be able to use our system. That's one of the things we're most excited about.
Is there anything overseas, anything in international markets, maybe move a little faster than ours in terms of regulation? This doesn't seem to be like a giant stretch. The difference between obvious and not so obvious, right?
Yeah.
Is there a model out there that you can point to that somebody's doing already, just not here in the US?
That's a great question that I don't know the answer to. Something I could look into and find more about and need to, honestly. So at this moment, I'm not entirely sure.
Right, good evening, everyone. My name is Zarina Gumbatova, and I'm a founder of Zarina Tova Boutique. Zarina Tova Boutique is a business that likes to give back and create a positive impact. Before I start talking about my business, I would like to share a short story about myself. About 5 years ago, I came to America to pursue my dream to study fashion, art, and design. And as a student from a third world country, it is extremely challenging to cover the tuition expenses because most of the international students are not eligible for any financial aid or FAFSA or grants and things like that. So I started with a community college, and my parents had to go through a lot of sacrifices, and I was working every day after school on campus, and also I was working during the weekends. And that way I was able to save enough money to cover my first year of tuition in a community college. Then I was working on campus during the summer break, and I was able to save to cover the second year of the tuition in a community college, and I was able to get my associate's degree. So when there was the time for me to transfer to get a full bachelor's degree, that was a real challenge because the tuition for international students is double than for American students. And I didn't know what to do, and that's where a real blessing came through my active involvement on campus and my good grades in the community college. I was eligible for an academic scholarship at Lipscomb. And so I was able to continue my education and get my bachelor's degree at Lipscomb. So that was a great blessing. And so that's one of the problems for international students who are coming to America to pursue their dreams and study here. Another problem for when foreigners are coming here, and I'm talking about refugees and immigrants, they don't speak the language, they hardly know about the US culture, and they don't really have any other choice as to apply for the government help. And so that's where my business wants to help. Therefore, okay. Now, right. Okay, great. Sorry about that. Therefore, the social mission of my boutique, first of all, is to contribute up to 10% of profit for scholarships for international students in America, and also to employ refugee and immigrant women in the community. So about 2 months ago, I started to test my product and my boutique, and I've created an online shop on Etsy.com. And this is the front page of my boutique, and so far I have 5 positive reviews. I have 12 sales, and I have 27 admirers, meaning that 27 people liked my shop. This is how my product looks like. I make handmade women's fashion accessories such as tote bags, clutches, purses, scarves, and I put a lot of attention to details, to quality. I combine different fabrics together. I use vegan leather, cotton, silk, corduroy, and I put a lot of attention to ICAT prints and to colors. So the mission statement of my boutique is to provide unique, handmade and stylish women's wear, and an exceptional customer service. So to prove that, here is a screenshot of the customer reviews that I have so far on my Etsy shop. And here's what my customers say. Love the silky fabric, a great addition, goes with so many different outfits. Thanks for shipping so quickly. Another customer says, this stylish clutch is really useful. I keep my purse and keys in this clutch and it's always with me. Here's more. Another customer said, this is my favorite scarf now. And then the scarf was beautiful and the customer service was amazing. I received the order very quickly and with a personal note attached. We'll definitely shop with Zarina Tova again. Here's more. Last week, I had a custom order from a school teacher and she needed a pouch for her classroom papers. And here are some of the comments that she left on my Etsy shop. She says, I love this particular clutch because it looks simple yet so very lovely. As soon as I get the product, I will likely order more clutches in different colors. I knew these clutches are handmade and they are special. You have a great idea and a great product for very busy people like me. And so that's exactly what my mission statement is all about. I want to create a great product with a good quality and also provide an exceptional customer service. So the unique value proposition of my boutique and my product is, first of all, it's versatile. Women who buy my purses or clutches, they can use it for either keeping makeup or keeping daily essentials such as phone, keys, or they can use it as a fashion accessory if they go out with their friends. Also, my items are handcrafted. They're made by myself, and the handcrafted products are very rare in the fashion industry today. Besides, I take custom orders, and that's also a very rare thing that exists in the fashion industry today. I pay a lot of attention to details, to quality. I use combination of different fabrics. Like I mentioned, I use a lot of vegan leather, cotton, corduroy, silk, iCat fabric. And also, I plan to order authentic silk iCat fabric from my country. So my target market are female millennials. They are fashion followers, they are bloggers, they are career-oriented women, young professionals, they are sociable, active, and they're also young moms. So why now? Well, first of all, a lot of women love to shop, and enough is not always enough. And, but I know by my example. Here's what statistics shows about the shopping today. US retail sales increased 3.4% since last year. Sales of women's clothing reached $41.6 billion, and that's about 4 times more than of men's sales since last year. Besides, 58% of women shop online, and 22% of which they shop at least once a day. Also, millennials, they shop a lot online, and they spend around $2,000 a year for shopping alone. 53% of millennial parents buy products that support good causes, and that's what my boutique is all about. And also, vegan leather and iCat prints are trending today, and that's exactly what I'm using right now. So the competitive advantage of my boutique has different aspects. First of all, the social mission. As I plan to employ women refugees and immigrants, and that's something that none of my competitors has done yet. Also, I have a unique product malfunction policy, meaning I give my customers 2 weeks since ordering a product. I let them test the product for 2 weeks. And if the zipper breaks or the tab comes off or there's a hole or anything like that, I let them ship the product back to me, and I will fix it for free and will send it back to them. In this way, I will be able to create a trustworthy and long-lasting relationship with my customers. Besides that, I have a custom order time frame. If I receive a custom order, I usually give 3 to 4 days, while my competitors take up to 10 days. Besides that, I have an excellent customer service, as you can see from the reviews. And my personal story, when people hear my story of coming to America with pretty much no money and being able to cover the tuition for the community college and get a bachelor's degree at Lipscomb and pretty much be where I am today, they get inspired. And that's exactly what I want my shop to serve people like. They want to get inspired by learning about my shop and about my cause. So as for the marketing, I plan to use social media. I already have a Facebook page, and I have around 93 likes today during 2 months. I plan to create a website, also trunk shows, local magazines. I know there is a Nashville Lifestyles magazine. It is very popular among my target market. That would be a great resource for marketing. Besides, I plan to use digital advertising and word of mouth from the community and my customers. As for the milestones, this is the approximate plan for 5 years. Starting as of today, I still continue to testing my product and my market. I plan to build an strong online platform. I would like to build loyal customer base, build my brand recognition. I plan to partner with local businesses, and I plan to hire 2 to 3 seamstresses depending on the demand. So in 3 to 5 years, I plan to build and run a website, because right now I'm on Etsy.com, and it has its pros and cons. I plan to have my first brick and mortar boutique, because a lot of people shop online, but still a lot of customers, they prefer to see and touch and feel the product. And also it is important for the communication for my customers and for me as a business owner to create that customer relationship even better. And also I plan to hire sales associates and more seamstresses, and therefore creating more job opportunities. So I'm a one-person team. I am a Master of Management student, and I'm a founder, creator, and designer at Zarina Tova Boutique. And that's my statistics. In 2 months, I have already 2 returning customers. I have 5 positive reviews. I have 12 sales, 27 shop likes, more than 600 listing likes, more than 1,900 shop views. And also, in 2 months and those 12 sales, I was able to return my investment, and now I'm making a profit. And I have 33 items listed on my shop, and plus I have an additional fabric that will all serve as a profit. So if I win this award, I plan to build and run the website, purchase good quality supplies. I plan to order authentic silk fabric from Uzbekistan. Also, I plan to develop my product. Also, plan to use this money for operating costs and advertising and promotion, that's what I need most. Thank you so much for your attention. And I would like for you to see my product closer, if you don't mind. It is between 25 to 95 as of today. I have more.
And what type of sewing machine is required?
It is a regular Zinger machine that I'm using right now. No.
So what's your margin on a clutch like this?
Between $5 to $6. Well, 5 to 7, I'd say.
$5 to $7?
Yes.
So would this be a $25 or $95 clutch?
It would be 25 to 30.
25 to 30, you make $8 profit or so,
More. Yes. I ordered online, and I order like 1 yard.
A yard?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Well, I still have, out of 1 yard of this vegan leather, I made, let's see, 6, and I did 1 custom, and I still have some fabric left. So that's enough for now. And I have scarves, I have a lot of things. Here at Lipscomb, I was a merchandising student, well, fashion merchandising, and apparel, and textiles. And I took art classes. Well, my major in community college was art. Here are the scarves.
How do you plan on scaling it?
Well, the milestones that I have, I still plan to test my product. And first, I plan to focus on online selling. Just want to build that strong online platform and then have a brick and mortar later.
So when you go online, you got a lot of options to choose from.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that I didn't look at it very long, but there's a way to, when you say custom orders too,
Mm-hmm.
is there a way to go on there and choose what kind of leather you want or
Yeah,
color?
in my shop, yes. You can choose the fabric, the color, what color of zippers do you want, where do you want the zipper, what do you want to add. I ask all of those detailed questions when I have a custom order. Just to make sure that my customer will get exactly what she wants. And by the way, the first customer order that I had, she reached out to me last night and she ordered 3 more of these clutches for her schoolwork.
So you want to partner with local businesses. What were you going to do and how would you partner with them?
I plan to pretty much sell my items there, basically.
Do you plan on taking, you said you wanted to build a brand,
Mm-hmm.
and it makes some sense to go in the marketplace physically at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Do you go to shows or have you done anything with?
Well, I've just started, it's been only 2 months, but I do plan to participate in trunk shows and also in the farmers market and different trade shows in the city. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Well, folks, we either are, this either shows that we have really indecisive judges or it was a very hard decision. And I know we don't have indecisive judges, so that shows it was a very, very hard decision. And we've been working, they've been working awfully hard up there trying to decide how to do this and how to award these. And in fact, it was such a hard decision that they've asked us to make a couple of extra awards. One of the first things, though, is that Amy has said, who is the president of the Women's Business Center at Pathway, that all of our female entrepreneurs tonight will be given a 1-year membership to the Women's Entrepreneur Business Center. Yeah, will somebody tweet that? That would be, I have no idea what that means, but somebody. Okay. Oh, will you welcome the men as well? Okay, so guys, y'all can go find some, y'all can go get some business as well. So that's one of the first things. So all of the candidates tonight are welcome to have a 1-year membership at the Pathway Business Center, Women's Business Center, and that will have a lot of training, a lot of assessments, a lot of business development opportunities there. So just talk with Amy about that afterward. The second thing that they did is the judges asked us if we would be willing to give more than one award tonight, and we said that we would be willing to do that, but they had some very specific things they wanted to do with this one award. So they asked us if we would give an award to S&G Capital, provided that they will invest this in invest it in your fund, co-invest it with your $5,000, so that we can claim that the Lipscomb Entrepreneur Center is actually one of the first investors. Now, I know you got some legal stuff, and we'll worry about that later, but that's just the lawyers. But they really wanted $1,000 to go into your fund and add 20% to your fund tonight as a co-investment. So we will be able to do that. The second award that they wanted us to make was a $2,000 award to writeHEIGHT, provided you will commit to use that to build your first sample. and that will get you into the market with that first sample, okay? So, and they do require a proof of picture there. This, not only were those two under consideration as we went into the larger Kittrell Prize, but there were several others that were as well. And it was a very tough decision. They looked at a lot of different criteria. They looked at a lot about the business plan, how well it had been developed, how the chances of success, all of those kinds of things, because trying to rate a business it's not a real easy thing to do. So the first Kittrell Award winner in history is Zarina Tova. Yeah. Yeah, congratulations, congratulations. Marty, come get in this picture as well. Let me get your certificate. That'll give you something to hold. Congratulations. Well, we thought you might even faint, so we were a little concerned about that. But they thought that this award would go a tremendous way of getting your market kicked off, and so you're to be congratulated. And we thank all the other participants. The judges are going to be around because they had very specific comments and ideas about all the presentations, and they would love to talk with you about that as well. Thank you once again, Marty. Thank you very, very much. It is wonderful. Thank you. Good night.